Welcome to this lunch hour broadcast where we highlight the news making headlines in Namibia and beyond, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. Here are the news headlines. Uproar over shortlisting of Chinese construction firms for Karibib Usakos road upgrade was unwarranted, says Chinese ambassador to Namibia. Khomas governor delivers State of Region address. Facebook rapist Tabos Bestel's lawyer charged with rape. I am Glenn Rashipura and this is NMH at 1. In our midday news update, the Khomas State of the Region address took place this morning at the Khomas Regional Council chambers. The governor of Khomas region, Laura McLeod Kashirwa, shared the developments and progress within the Khomas region in various sectors, among these an SME financing strategy. Let's have a look.
Today I am very proud to confirm that we took full ownership of our obligation of development and nation building by employing all available development implements and process to report the following complements as a region. Under economic sector, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Members, the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises. Economic Advancement Pillar, the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises, together with financial sector, are currently in the process of drafting the new Namibian financial sector strategy as the previous one ended in 2021. As part of the ended NFWS, the expected outcome was to develop an SME financing strategy. And the SME financing strategy has 3 facilities, namely the Credit Guarantee Scheme, Monitoring and Coaching Program, and Venture Capital Fund. The Credit Guarantee Scheme serves to provide partial collateral guarantee for SMEs obtained loans from participating commercial banks. The commercial banks and government share the risk of loaning to the SMEs on a ratio of 40:60.
Visual News brings you local stories from across Namibia. We get into this on the other side of the break. Stay with NMH at 1.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with the entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Getting into our visual news, the Chinese ambassador to Namibia, Zhao Weiping, says the recent uproar over the shortlisting of Chinese construction firms for the upgrade of the Karibib Usakos road was unwarranted. According to him, Chinese companies were selected on the basis of their competitiveness. The Roads Authority shortlisted 6 Chinese construction firms who will now vie to compete for the upgrade of the 30-kilometer stretch in a project funded by KfW. Ohonetlache reports.
We are friends, whether in the past, at present, or in future. Never believe those people who tell you that China is pursuing so-called neo-colonialism in Africa, which is not true at all. China and African countries have always been supporting and helping each other politically, economically, and diplomatically. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. and it's an equal relationship. China never imposes its own will or interests upon African countries. And so I think for every commercial or business transactions taking place in Namibia, it must be done, or at least it's required to be done in accordance with your law and regulations. So for the the case you mentioned, of course it's people just feel why these are all these bidders qualified to participate in the bidding. Why are those companies are all Chinese companies? Maybe some people they don't understand. Okay, yeah, but I think it must be the result of market competition, and I think the relevant authorities of Namibia government have already made some explanation on that. So I think I'm not in a position to explain why, but I'm sure there must be the result of the market competition. Yeah.
The Environment Ministry will be selling 40 crocodiles in an effort to minimize human-wildlife conflict. After the break, the Namibian Sun highlights the full story in our newspaper review segment.
Ek is Coretti Duplessis.
My name is Justice Shahama. I am Namibian.
Hallo, ek's Damien Stevens.
En ek is 'n Namibianer in Nederland.
Bly tans in New Orleans in Amerika.
In Heidelberg in beautiful Toronto, Canada. Currently part of... So I'm currently based in South Carolina in the US.
Let's take a look at our daily newspapers. The Environment Ministry will be selling 40 crocodiles to minimize human-wildlife conflict. The crocodiles are all adults and will not be larger than 3 meters, the ministry announced. Ministry spokesperson Romeo Muyunda said since 2019, the ministry has paid offsets amounts of over $2.3 million for losses caused by crocodiles. This includes $575,000 for 195 cases of livestock loss, $140,000 for 14 cases of injury to people, and over $1.6 million for human lives lost. According to him, Namibia has over the years experienced a remarkable recovery of wildlife populations as a result of its good conservation methods. This is reported on the Namibian Sun's front page. Moving on to page 4 of the Namibian Sun, it reports that the Namibia Students Financial Assistance Fund finds itself under increased pressure as it continues to grapple with delays in disbursing non-tuition fees to students. Despite assurances made in April, NASFAF has yet to fulfill its commitment, leaving students burdened by financial uncertainty. In response to concerns raised by the National Union of Namibian Students, NASFAF issued a statement saying that the payments would be made by the end of June. The Appeals Board of the Namibia Financial Institutions Supervisory Authority has set aside in its entirety a directive to medical funds that equal contributions must be introduced to all members within the same age group and plan, regardless of differing risk profiles between employee groups and individuals. The decision in favor of NAMED follows after this medical fund filed an appeal regarding the far-reaching and long-term consequences that this would have on the affordability of healthcare, among other things. A South African couple was arrested on Tuesday at Grootfontein after allegedly taking cell phone photos of an information board at the military base in the town. According to Oshodonjupa Region Police spokesperson Inspector Maureen Beha, the couple aged 60 and 65 is in custody and was scheduled to appear in the Grootfontein Magistrate Court yesterday. Beha told Namibia Media Holdings that the couple was spotted by a member of the military when they allegedly took photos of the board at around 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday. The couple has been charged with violating Section 55.1 of the Defense Act, which prohibits photographing a military base. Currently, Recon Africa is evaluating seismic images and other information, after which it hopes to take the next step in October in the hope of locating commercial-grade gas and oil wells. Meanwhile, the Polaris people and Namibian have returned home. The story leads today's Allgemeine Zeitung. On page 3, the Allgemeine Zeitung highlights an international study which, according to private farmers and communal landowners, plays a significant role in the protection of rhinos on the African continent. But rising costs are making this responsibility even more difficult for them. The study, conducted by Frontiers in Ecology and the Environment, examines the contribution of private and communal lands to rhino conservation and the financial and political implications of these arrangements. After the break, we continue with more newspaper review.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
We continue with our newspaper review, starting off with the Namibian's front page. Namibians who refuse to give data to enumerators in the forthcoming census may be slapped with a 50,000 Namibian dollars fine or a jail term of up to 5 years or both. Namibia's statistics during the upcoming population and housing census face one or both of these punishments. The census is scheduled to begin on the 18th of September after being postponed 2 times due to COVID-19. A Windhoek resident who admitted that he murdered his police officer girlfriend by strangling her nearly 2 years ago received a 28-year prison term when he was sentenced in the High Court yesterday. Bank of Namibia Governor Johannes Khomas yesterday announced a repo rate increase by 50 basis points from 7.25% to 7.75% with immediate effect, bringing the prime lending rate to 11.50%. Not acting and failing to live up to our constitutional mandate, the alternative is going to be worse for the majority of Namibians, and it is going to affect Namibians more than what they are seeing at this point in time, said Khomas during the 3rd monetary policy announcement of the year. The Namibian Defence Force will recruit between 1,400 and 1,600 trainees for the 2nd year in a row, Defence Executive Director Wilhelmina Shivute announced. Now, the director said this in a letter addressed to regional governors dated the 2nd of June 2023, sent by this paper. The NDF RPC will oversee the process in all 14 regions. The Bank of Namibia announced a 50 basis points increase in the repo rate from 7.25% to 7.75%. That means the prime lending rates for the local commercial banks will increase from 11% to 11.50%. Year to date, the central bank increased the repo rate by 100 basis points. Meanwhile, the South African Reserve Bank increased the repo rate by 125 basis points year to date. The repo rate in South Africa currently stands at 8.25%, 50 basis points higher than in Namibia. U.S. legislators have asked the White House to move this year's African Growth and Opportunity Act summit away from South Africa. After the break, we find out why as we head into economic news.
to another exciting episode of Iran Work Talk. We bring jou lees die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle mondstuk gaan byt.
Getting into our economic news, a group of both U.S. Democratic and Republican legislators have asked the White House to move this year's African Growth and Opportunity Act summit away from South Africa, as they warn that the country looks set to lose its AGOA status. AGOA gives duty-free access to 25% of South African exports to the U.S., South Africa's second biggest single country trading partner after China. In a letter dated June 9th and addressed to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Trade Representative Catherine Tai, and National Security Advisor Jacob Sullivan, the group said, "We question whether a country in danger of losing AGOA benefits should have the privilege of hosting the 2023 AGOA Forum." A report about the letter was first published in the New York Times on Tuesday morning. Let's take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.34, against the euro at 19.99, and 2 Namibian dollars and 58 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. Selected NSX stock closing prices remained the same. Overall index went up 1.66%. Gold and platinum went down, while copper and Brent crude oil went up. Brent crude oil went up 0.39%, trading at $73.99 per barrel. The death toll from an overloaded boat which capsized in a remote part of Nigeria has increased to more than 100. More on this after the break.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Let's take a look at the news from across Africa. The death toll from an overloaded boat that capsized in a remote part of Nigeria's north-central region has risen to more than 100, police and officials said on Wednesday, in one of the worst such disasters in recent years. The wooden boat was ferrying people to Kwara State across a river from neighboring Niger State after a wedding ceremony when it capsized on Monday night. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu offered his condolences to the families of the victims on Wednesday and said his government would look to improve inland water transport safety. In our next story, the National Prosecuting Authority in the Free State has confirmed the instructing attorney representing Thabo Bester has been charged with attempted rape and assault. It is understood that 27-year-old Tsireletso Ndau's case is currently before the Sexual Offences Court. Newsroom Africa reports Ndau is out on a 1,000 rand bail. Ndau is also being represented by Bester's main lawyer, advocate Jeremiah Pella. NPA Free State spokesperson Falati Shuping told the Citizen Ndau's next court appearance will be on the 21st of June. We'll get into your international news shortly. Let's take a look at our international news. Donald Trump pleaded not guilty on Tuesday to dozens of criminal counts of mishandling some of the U.S. government's most sensitive secrets and scheming to prevent their return. In a historic first court appearance as a federal defendant, the former president and the favorite to fight next year's election for the Republicans gave himself up to U.S. Marshals in Miami for a hearing that set up the unprecedented scenario of a White House race legislated from the courtroom as well as at the ballot box. On the eve of his 77th birthday, Trump appeared before a magistrate judge to be formally presented with 37 counts under 7 charges brought by a special counsel probe that opened after an FBI raid of his Florida mansion 10 months ago. During a stop at Versailles, a Cuban restaurant, after the hearing, Trump told supporters that the United States was rigged, corrupt, and in decline. Let's have a look.
I think it's going great. I think it's a rigged deal here. We have a rigged country. We have a country that's corrupt. We have a country that's got no borders. We have a country that's got nothing but problems. We're a nation in decline. And then they do this stuff. And you see where the people are. We love the people. And you see where they are. You see the crowds and everything else. We have a country that is in decline like never before. And we can't let it happen.
On the other side of the break, we'll get into your local and international sports news. Do stay tuned.
Ek is Corretti Du Plessis.
My name is Justice Shahama. I am Namibian.
Hallo, ek is Damien Stevens.
En ek is 'n Namibianer in Nederland.
Bly tans in New Orleans in Amerika.
In Heidelberg in beautiful Toronto, Canada. Currently part of... So I'm currently based in South Carolina in the US.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with the entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Let's take a look at our local sports news. A group of technical staff members who were part of the Brave Gladiators team for the 2021 COSAFA Women's Championship, as well as the two-legged qualifiers for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in 2022, claim they are still waiting to be paid for their work. One of the technical staff members who requested not to be quoted by name claims the FIFA-appointed normalization committee for the Namibia Football Association owes her close to 100,000 Namibian dollars. She accused them of dragging their feet to settle the outstanding payment to her. The Namibia School Sports Union coaching team and Namibia Football Association have come under fire from parents following the removal and subsequent reselection of 2 players from the under-17 national football team. Kidimetse Modisi and Macheni Kavenji were nearly denied the opportunity to represent their country even after they were successfully selected at trials. The trials, which took place on the 17th and 18th of May at the NFA Technical Center and Van Rijn School Sports Ground, sparked controversy following the exclusion of the 2 players at the final hour. The 8th edition of the Henties Bay Harambee Charity Cup will take place from the 29th September to the 1st of October at the Omdal Soccer Stadium in Henties Bay. The HHCC initiative was established by Henties Bay residents. According to the chairperson of HHCC, Michael Skinny, the purpose of the event is to provide an opportunity for the youth of Henties Bay to engage in sporting activities and, in so doing, get them off the streets. After the short break, we'll get into your international sports news.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Getting into our international sports news, Indian police filed charges of sexual harassment and criminal intimidation on Thursday against the chief of the country's wrestling federation, a powerful member of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, following complaints by female wrestlers. Public prosecutor Atul Srivastav read out the charges against Bhushan Saran Singh, a member of parliament from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party, at a court hearing in the capital, New Delhi. If convicted, he faces up to 3 years in jail. The total prize money on offer at the Wimbledon has risen, tennis clubs said on Wednesday. Winners and runners-up of the men's and women's singles finals will also see their prize money rising to previous levels in 2019, where they received £2.35 million and £1.175 million, respectively. The prize money for winners fell to £1.7 million in 2021 before it was increased to £2 million last year. Croatia scored twice in extra time to beat the Netherlands 4-2 in their Nations League semi-final in Rotterdam on Wednesday and advanced to Sunday's decider. Croatia will play either Italy or Spain, who face off in the second semi-final in Enschede on Thursday for a first major title as they continued their form from last year's World Cup in Qatar, where they finished third. After the break, we'll be getting into your news highlights. Do stay with us.
To another exciting episode of Iran World Top. Dit is die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle mondelik gaan byt.
Getting into the news highlights from today's broadcast. By Wednesday, the death toll from an overloaded boat that capsized in a remote part of Nigeria's north-central region has risen to more than 100, police and officials said. Now, Donald Trump pleaded not guilty on Tuesday to dozens of criminal counts of mishandling some of the U.S. government's most sensitive secrets and scheming to prevent their return in a historic first court appearance as a federal defendant. A group of technical staff members who were part of the Brave Gladiators team for the 2021 COSAFA Women's Championship, as well as the two-legged qualifiers for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in 2022, claim they are still waiting to be paid for their work. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia, Africa, and the world, ranging from current affairs, economic news, sports, and international headlines. And from me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.